So kind of looking at like the downsides of Uber and Lyft, like what are some things you dislike about driving for them? Or like are there some things that you like more or less comparing Uber and Lyft to each other?
Ooh, so starting off with the Uber versus Lyft comparison, I equally like both apps. Like, if I had to be honest, like, I don't, like I said, I remember hearing, oh, Lyft is the more friendly one, Uber is the more unfriendly one, or whatever. I think that's just like a weird myth. I equally have a good time driving for both. My biggest thing, probably like a lot of other drivers, is at that moment, which one's paying the most? That's pretty much my number one thing. And it does fluctuate, whether it's bonuses or whatever. When it comes to the negative side effects in terms of driving for Uber and Lyft, there are a few. I think the biggest one is you're not getting paid now as much as you used to. I think a lot of drivers know that. The whole independent contractor versus employee debate has also been a big one. Prop 22 just happened in California. And as a result, drivers do stay as independent contractors. Most drivers don't like that. Some drivers do. It really depends. So there's a lot of tricky legal things as well. I will also say, which is another really interesting one that I feel like most people don't think about when it comes to driving, is actually the health effects. I noticed that when I would drive for a while, like say if I was doing like a big day, like say, or better yet, big night, whereas like say starting at 5 p.m. on a Friday night, doing the evening commutes to 7 p.m., then continuing to like say 2 or 3 a.m., maybe even 4 a.m., that like my back would start to hurt. I found I was
Oh,
very
yeah.
dehydrated too. So yeah, so those are some negative side effects that I think are not as well talked about. Obviously, too, just unfortunate statistics. The fact that when you're on the road more, you're more likely to be involved in an accident or whatever. Obviously, hopefully nothing like that ever happens. I've never been involved in an accident while driving. Huge knock on wood there. But that's another thing to keep in mind. I think the biggest thing though, when you talk to a lot of drivers, is they're not being compensated enough for their driving, especially compared to when I first started driving in 2015. The money was really good, when just especially for how little you were driving and everything. And I know different drivers have different perspectives. I bet you probably see this on your channel a lot. I try to read as many comments as I can, and I'll have comment wars with some drivers saying, "Oh my God, I love driving. I make insane money. I'm not working that much. I have a flexible schedule. I love Lyft and Uber." And then someone will comment under it. We know YouTube comments will be like, "F you, you're making this up. Lyft and Uber does not pay anything," and also they'll argue with each other. And like I said in the beginning of this, the number one factor is your location. By far, that determines how much money you can make. And that's why, in a weird way, both drivers are actually right. Just their own perspectives and own location has a big factor on that. But at the end of the day, I think for a lot of drivers, the biggest downside really comes down to money. That's, I think, the number one thing by far.
Yeah, definitely.